Good evening, Word of Life Church. My name is Al Brown, and I'm here to give a testimony, and I hope you enjoy it. Coming up, I want to start off being a young boy in the late 50s, early 60s. Both parents, they worked, they loved the Lord and everything, and they taught me and my 7 siblings to love the Lord as well. We've always knew about the Lord. We always prayed before meals and things of that nature. Me being the fourth oldest of 8 children and my statue, I was never I was never made special, or they never did special things for me, or I was treated as just like the rest of my other 7 siblings. Three boys. I was the second oldest son, and I had 5 sisters. And we all got along. I was never picked on by any of them. And actually, during my childhood, I really never paid no attention to my status, to my stature, because back then we were all typically the same size anyway. So it really never dawned on me, of my stature until I got a little older, and I will explain that shortly. Coming up in grade school, I had lots of friends. I was never like picked on or anything like that. Buddies, I had plenty of buddies and everything, and we did things, played basketball, played ball, stuff like that. And I never had no problem being picked to play on any team or things of that nature. I played baseball with everybody, basketball, and I was uh, I was a regular child. I was a regular child doing regular childhood things. I did not really, like I said, I did not really pay attention to my stature until I got like maybe in junior, like 7th and 8th grade. 7th and 8th grade, when we were first off like this here, me here. Then by the time we got to 7th and 8th grade, I was here and everybody was up here. You know, everybody was like and at 5 feet 9 and all that. 8th grade, I was 3 foot 10 inches tall, and I kind of was bearing the grunt of of my statue at that time and everything. And I kind of, although we all knew about God, I always knew about God, but I was really mad at God. I blamed him for why I was born that way. This was the time when I really thought God, gave me a wrong deal and everything, because all my siblings were all growing up taller than me, and all my friends and everything.
Did you start to get any blowback from peers at that point in your life? Did you start to get picked on more, or
I
did you feel stares? Did you feel that more?
I did. Started getting stares from other little kids. In fact, I get that now, but I'm used to it now. But I started getting, if I'm in the store or something, where little kids, with their parents or whoever they're with, they'll look at me, and someone would actually have the nerves and ask me why I'm so, why I'm short and things of that nature. It used to really bug me. Sometimes I would just, just say none of your business or something like that. Go ask your parents, or something like. I was really crude about it at that time, at this time here, and it went on then around in high school. When I got to high school, it got even more, because back then we was having the little dances and things of that nature, and although I did have, girls like me, I liked the girls and things of that nature, and I did have, I had a girlfriend here and there and things of that nature, but I wasn't as active as everybody else was, all my other peers and friends and stuff like that, but I did, had have girlfriends, things of that nature. So that beat me up for a long time. That beat me up all the way through high school. Now, once I got out of high school and I started working for in my neighborhood, working for this guy. Back then, they had policy. Back then, because after I graduated from high school, I didn't, couldn't find me a job because of my height and things like that, and they really didn't have a lot, like factories and stuff like that. I couldn't work no factories stuff like that, and I would like work places like the little neighborhood grocery store and stocking stand, stocking shelves and things of that nature, or during the summer. Back then they had summer jobs, and it was called NYC, Neighborhood Youth Corps, and we had summer jobs that I worked, and I did that until I was 18. But I started working for working with this guy. He was doing policy. If anybody remembered the movie Hoodlum, and they was running policy, things of that nature. They was fighting about which territory, and that was like, do you remember the Hoodlum, the movie?
I didn't see it.
You never?
No,
Oh well,
but I might have to after this.
yeah, with Lawrence Fishburne, and I bet you remember. You remember Hoodlum? Okay, right. Well, anybody that seen Hoodlum, they were running policy. This was before the lottery came out, and you would go to people's houses. They would pick their numbers and write them down and everything, and we would pick them up, and then we would take them to relay hours later, and we did that the whole day. So during this time, I was hanging around people that was like in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, and we would either during the day would hang around in restaurants. At night we would hang around the bar because it was an all day job. We would start at like 10 in the morning and wouldn't finish till about 12 at night. 12 midnight. 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning. So during that time, in between time, we would hang out in restaurants and bars and things of that nature. So I used to watch, and I've learned how, a lot of the older women, they started liking me and things of that nature, right? And the more the more they liked me, the more I used to go there, I used to dress up and everything and, put on a nice little outfit and everything and hang out, because that's what they were doing. They would wear nice outfits and things of that nature and shine shoes and nice hats and things like that. That's why I started, that's why I'm looking like I am now, because I learned that from being with them. And I've learned to accept my statue because they accepted it in a way where I was really comfortable with it, So during that time, and I was like, 19 to about 20 something, about 22, 23.
So it sounds like this was giving you some validation.
That's what I was just going to say. This is a great time to ask some questions.
Yes, it was. It did. When as I like I said, as I got older, I started, liking myself, and I started, I was around people that liked me as well and that cared about me and things of that nature. So after that, I started liking older women because older women liked me. A lot of older women. I was going with. I was like 22, and I was going with women that were 29 and 30 and things of that nature.
Guessing that didn't draw you closer to Jesus.
I was just going to ask, what was your relationship with the Lord like during that time?
Well, back then, it did because it drew me closer because I was, like I said, I've learned to love myself, you know. And through him, I know it was only through God that this was happening, you know. And but at the same time, I was getting, by hanging with these older people and like we're hanging in restaurants and bars, in the restaurant we would eat and everything, do it. And at night we would go to bars and I was drinking, but I was never drinking real heavy. And then, I never drank where I was getting drunk and everything. Maybe have me a drink, a beer or something. And we would be in, lounges and stuff like that. Started to, like I say, love myself. And then I got into in my like 30s, I just ran with it, I just ran with being, back then, that's when I thought I was a player. I was just, every woman that, every woman that I seen, I wanted them. And I'll be frank with you, And I went to that phase where I just wanted to be with any woman that I liked it. And
How did that make you feel about yourself?
I felt real good about it, really. The statue, me worrying about my statue at this time, I didn't worry about it anymore. Because the way everybody received me, and I was all good. This is great, so I would go to places and stuff. I remember staying with my aunt when I got my first regular job in the city in Chicago, and I stayed with her because it was closer to the job. I worked downtown Chicago, and she stayed like in the city part, like 43rd and State and everything, and I was really just, I was making money, I kept me a lot of, I kept me money from working and things of that nature. And then like I said, I may never forget, the guy told me, one of the guys, we were sitting sipping on beers together, and he told me, he said, man, in your statue, you should always dress very well. You all should always dress well, look sharp. And I never forgot that. I was 13 then. And that's what I said. And they also told me that I also learned that from hanging with the guys that were doing policy. So I always focused on dressing up nice, being well groomed, things of that nature. And
Would you say that that sort of became your identity? Like that really became who you were? Like, I'm Al, I'm a well-dressed man, small in stature, but I'm gonna make a big impression.
right, big at heart,
Absolutely.
and and that did, that really did. So when I got to the point where I was, so my drinking had got heavy. My drinking had got where I started fighting, wanting to fight people, things of that nature, and I would really, if you said the wrong thing or did something to me, like put your hand on my head or something like that, that's one thing to the day I don't like, And I would really get mad real quick, and I'd be wanting to fight and all this old kind of stuff. I'd gristle up and, man, do it again, and I'm a so, And that's when Big Al was born, because they was talking, all right now, Big Al, that's Big Al there, and stuff like that. So that's when, like I said, I didn't name myself. A lot of people named me that, because I was always talking like I was, 6 feet tall or something, Oh man, I'll knock you out. I'll do this to you. I'll do that to you. Keep talking. And I would look like I really would do it,
I believe it.
And sometime I would, Sometime I hit somebody in the groin and hit them in the face and walk on off and stuff like, though those are my violent years. So I I did that for a while. Like I said, and I worked and everything. I said, well, I had regular jobs, and I got down to like the '80s, and went to smoking marijuana. I went to smoking weed and drinking and kicking it, things of that nature and everything. But my low part of my life was within the '90s when I started to do cocaine. I started smoking cocaine, snorting cocaine, and drinking and everything. And it got so bad, although I still was able to keep me a job, I was what you call a functioning addict, you know. But that was that was all I wanted to do when I got through working.
How did that progression to cocaine happen?
Well, the progression of cocaine is when I moved back to my old neighborhood, and back then everybody was doing cocaine. You know, the whole neighborhood was just scattered with, a lot of my friends that were doing it. A lot of the girls that I liked it, they were doing it, and things of that nature. So I got real, I got into it real deep, and I I got in so deep that again I wanted a way out, but I couldn't see a way out because long as I didn't have no money, then that was my way out, not having no money. Long as I didn't have no money, I was fine. I could stay in the house and not worry about it, sipping my beer. But once I got hold to a few dollars, then all systems would go. And I was in a real bad state for about the next 10 years because that's all I was doing. That's all I wanted to do. And
So the 90s was just a blur.
the '90s was a blur. The '90s was right because I went through so much during that time. And by this time, and I started having kids. I started having kids, and my child's mother, she had my daughter. She had my daughter, and I kept my son. And my mom helped me raise him, and I realized the responsibility that I had. And right now today, I got respect for all single moms and knowing what they did, for their children and everything. Because I was at the WIC offices getting WIC and all this, taking them to the doctor and everything that I needed to do, for my son. But thank God my mom was there. I was still living with my mom, and she helped me out a great deal. I thank God for her for being there, because I don't know what I've done if I was by myself. Just being a regular single parent. I don't think I could have handled it as well as I did, especially in my addiction and my alcoholism at the time. But I thank God for her helping me, being there for me. So when I get, as they say in recovery, when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, I knew some friends. I knew a friend who had a recovery house, and this is where God came back in my life in a mighty big way, because He surrounded me with people like me that wanted to get sober, wanted to stay sober, and wanted to help others to be sober. And He surrounded me with those kind of people, those kind of friends. In fact, that's where I met my wife in recovery. And we, and after, and I've been, be with a group and stuff like I said. My friend, he had several recovery homes, and even when I would be recovered. I would be in recovery for a couple of months. Then I would fall off. I would fall off and everything. But when whenever I got to the point where I needed to, I needed to get back on the right path, I would call him, and he never, well, you shouldn't have left and all that. He never brought back the reason why I left and the reason I left and all that. He would just say, yeah, come on, yeah, I got a room for you. Yeah, come on back. I'll even, he'd even come get me wherever I was at. He would come get me, and I did that, and I stayed. Then in 2008, after when my mom passed away, I knew right then because she was always. Whenever I did things like spend all my money and stuff like that, and whenever I needed something, needed a few dollars to go to work, she was always there to help me. She was always there to help me out, things like that. But when she passed away, and I knew right then, I said, well, I really need to get myself together now because she wasn't, my mom wasn't there to pick me up, and my family back then, by this time, they didn't trust me or didn't like me to be around because it was about me being um, in the 90s. In the 90s when I was been doing real bad, with drugs and alcohol. They didn't even like me to even be around, come to family functions, stuff like that. I would walk in there and they would be like, oh Lord, there he go. I finally made up my mind, and thanks to God for putting the right people, putting me with the right people. And I've been sober ever since. I've been sober since 2008, and I never looked back now. And I've learned how to continue to learn how to be good to myself, be good to others, and continue to love God. Because I know if it hadn't been for Him, I wouldn't be here today.
How do you feel that the role of those people in your life, the guy, you said, was he the director of the rehab facility?
He was the owner of the. Yeah, how did I feel
So
about?
people like him and people like your mom, how did those relationships, those people that were just willing to stick it out with you, did that help you to understand that God was pursuing you, that He was in your corner?
Absolutely, the people that his name was Robert Lee, and the people that in the recovery realm, and my mom, and even my family, when they seen how it was working for me, how me being in recovery, and when I would come in the neighborhood, they would be worried that I would get with the wrong people, but I've always, stayed focused on staying sober. No matter where I was, because mainly I just stayed around my family and stuff. Everything I did it with either them or my family. I did not go to outside. Because in recovery, we did picnics and cookouts and things of that nature. We do it now. We do skating parties, and we did everything that regular people do. We partied, good nice parties, cookouts, and things like that. But I was around people that were sober and stayed sober, and I used to tell people, man, we had just as much fun as you guys do, without the beer and alcohol and stuff like that, So, and when I grasped that and learned that, that. I learned that I could really have a good time, with good people, and being sober.
So when did you start getting serious about Jesus?
When did I start being serious about Jesus? When I get around the people in recovery, and I was, and I met my wife, my ex-wife. I met her through recovery. When I got in recovery, although they say it's not a religious program, but it's a spiritual program. So when I got in recovery and going to meetings and constantly meeting people like me, other recovering addicts, and I started going to a church that my ex-wife was a member of, and kind of find out the guy, the pastor of the church, was also in recovery, and when I got there, half of the people in the church were members of my recovery group. At one meeting or another, I always seen them. So half of my church members was recovery members as well. So that's what God put me. Like I said, He put me around people that were love God, that love staying sober, love being in recovery, and that's when I believed in how good He was at that. Because if He hadn't done that, ain't no telling where I'll be right now.
So how did you come to Word of Life, and how has being part of this church changed your life?
Well, Pastor, how did I come to Word of Life? And I'm sure I told the story many times. When I was with my ex, when I was with her, we brought her daughter to the Light Tonight, October 2017, because I moved here in September 2017. And we came to the Light Tonight, and actually Robin was telling me that I wanted to go, she wanted me to take her to the Halloween party at the church. I said, what church? She said, church across the street from your building. And like I said, I was living here. I was living in my building since September. No, since October, since the 1st of October, the 6th of October. And I never paid no attention to this church. I never paid no attention. I seen the orange brick, but I never even turned. When I come out my alley, I would always go left. I never turned right going down 7th Avenue. And I never walked out in the front of my building to look at it or anything. I never even knew that was a church. I knew it was an orange building. And when I came to Light Tonight, Pastor, oh, you should have seen him with his Fred Flintstone, outfit on, the shirt and everything with the wig on, walking around in his sandals. I said, that's the pastor there. She said, how you know? I said, because wouldn't nobody have that much sense, or have that much gall to dress like that. I said, it got to be the pastor. So you walked up to me, Pastor, and introduced yourself. And when I got into Word of Life, when I came in, and I've seen how everybody was loving on everybody, one another. And I've met Amy, and a lot of the ladies introduced themselves to me. A lot of the guys introduced themselves to me. And yeah, well, you ought to come to the service. And so I was telling them, yeah. And I was like amazed. I said, I've been going in Davenport, looking for a church home, and it was one right across the street from me. And if that ain't God, I don't know who was. This is nothing but God to have place me in a church home right across the street from my house. And I was like, so I started coming, and the more I came, the better, I liked it more. I liked to love the pastor giving the word, with his antics and his, you know, his sense of humor and his antics and everything, and I love that in him and everything. So so right then and there I said, well, this is the place to be. This is I didn't have to. I figured I didn't. Why go any further? You know. And like I say, the men and women of Word of Life, and Olivia, who I used to work with, I found out when I found out she was a member, and several other people that grabbed hold to me and put their arms around me and showed me that I was loved, and it was really awesome. It was so, and I thank God. It was nothing but God for me to place me here at that point in time of my life.
So how do you use this story then to make God known, to change the world around you?
So how would I use this story? I would use it, like I said, learn to love yourself, no matter what was going on in your life. Learn to love yourself first. Learn to love people. And most importantly, learn to love God. Put God in your life, and He'll take you places where you've never been before. But if that's what I would say do, because He would put you around people that are just like you, and you would learn from them how to cope with whatever you're going through. I'm glad to be able to do this, to share, and on one more footnote, my family now, in the 15 and a half years of me being sober, they love me now. They love me, the neighborhood loved me, because I was a wreck. Let me tell you, I was a wreck. I was one of those neighborhood crackheads, I was one of them, believe it or not, But thanks to my Heavenly Father, He brought me out of all that. One day at a time, He brought me through all that. And now when I go, I'm well respected in the neighborhood, and my children, they love me. My siblings, they all love me and love what I'm doing. And I was planning on moving back after I retired, and they was telling, no, don't move back. No, stay where you at. Stay where you at. So now I just go visit. Take me a drive when I feel like being around. My family and my friends. Take me a visit for a weekend and drive on back. But that was another good thing that I did is when I came here to visit my brother, and that's how I ended up here. Came here to visit my brother for the weekend and for his birthday. And I seen how quiet and peaceful it seemed, compared to South Side of Chicago, where it's all gunshots and gunfire all day and night and everything. And I used to sit on his porch and sit on the porch in September, and how quiet it was. And I said, man, I can really love to live out here and everything. And he was so glad to see me. You know how siblings are when they're glad to see you the first day. You can stay as long as you want, So I ended up being out here. I stayed out. The next day I went and got all my stuff and moved in with him. September 6th, by October 6th, I had moved into my little apartment, which is across the street.
That's great.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Pastor Tanner. Thank you, lovely Sarah. And thank you, my man. Thank you. Your name again? Toby. Thank you, Toby, for doing what you're doing. And love you, Word of Life. Take care. See you Sunday.